slow, you smell like smoke. I know there are worse things than being alone. 'Cause these days move slow, and I need some smoke. I know there are worse things than being alone. But I'm far from home, and you seem so close. But my heart's still sore, and I know you're just feeling alone. 'Cause I'm far from home, and you feel so close. And my heart's still sore, and with you I don't feel so alone. You're tripping over every move I made tonight. So fall for me and I'll catch you, baby. 'Cause these nights move fast, and I hope this lasts. We can let time pass, but you know that I'm gone and I can't look back. These nights go fast, just hope this lasts. We can let time pass, but I know that you're gone and you're not coming back. It's blue and black, with you it's bad. It's like you knew that I had to have you. I'm bruised and black, with you I'm bad. It's like I knew that I can't, but I had to have you. You're tripping over every move I made tonight. So fall for me and I'll catch you, baby. Cause the night move fast and the wind move faster, but I push it slow like molasses. I'm trying to make this here last. While she's sitting on the sand and she's looking at the ocean with a tan, like, can't believe where I am or who I'm with. Think I'm falling, take her to a house on the beach like I'm Bali. You're tripping over every move I made tonight. So fall for me and I'll catch you, baby.
Good morning, or whatever it is, wherever you are. My internet cable is patched and so far working okay. Yeah, not dropped frames. Looked like the test was looking a little worse, but it could have also been all my computers going, oh my gosh, I can connect again. So after the cutoff, I did a little bit more work on layer consistency. As far as when things are shown, like the search layer isn't really a thing here anymore. It is just when you're here. I don't remember if it's only when you have data, but and I'd been getting really tired of this list of radio buttons, so I re-implemented this as Oh, right, because your time got set to here and there's no time before where it got cropped to. I wonder if this should also limit itself by the start time? Anyway, this is a radio button-like thing. Server list? End time select, service select, yeah, so it's a radio row. I had to put a regular old HTML class on it. And then poke around in the HTML, in the generated HTML in order to, figure out where to put that. It got put in at least 2 elements. and overwrite to flex wrap, which is a little weird with the way they do some of the padding, so this is offset a bit, which is annoying. But you get a more compact control. I haven't gone as far as collapsing this because this is more compact. Oh, and I did exponential controls for these things. Now, I might actually want to redo these as like certain known values, because up here you have like no precision. It's almost as bad as it was before. But really, at this scale, you're probably doing, what, 60 hours? Really? You're probably doing 48 or something like that. But it's, I also thought of trying to redo this as like days and hours or something. Yeah, so display that stuff in other units. So this is probably going to move down the list a little bit. There is still the default frame rate we can't do. I think yesterday mode is more of its own thing now. I might still have a problem. No, I think I set this up to always. No, if the animation overlay is on, then it sets the time parameter. So I think that was fixed. Still a bit hard-coded. URL parameter is mainly a parameter parsing issue, actually, because right now I've got this big case statement for the location, and you'd still want to be able to do location. I've been debating whether data should auto swap to that. And there's a more general idea of bookmarking layers, but I'm still unsure. This is how I want to do monuments. I'm still unsure if this is really the right way to handle animation toggling. But doing it the right way seems like it's going to involve customizing the time layer control. So I'm a little bit more interested in some of the display variation, although a lot of this is information I'm not currently shipping, and that's going to increase the size of the data output. I think I want to do, well, I want to do stuff with the death info so you could get what kind of cause of death, location of death. Actually, if you were going to do cause of death, you'd want to do location of death, which then means time of death. So that's like 1, 2, 3, 4. At least new fields. We're pretty much shipping the entire lifelog at that point. What are we shipping? So maybe it would make sense to have multiple different output formats. Point presenter, birth X, birth Y. I don't remember if I was actually using chain. Maybe that was a graphing element. Name is more for this search, because I was just using the same lives. Oh, chain was generation for that search. But having this information let you jump directly to the result. That's for the graph. You need that for linking information. Age was really for this search. I guess age could be another dimension. Oh, that's why I shipped everything, because we went... if we do that, we can select these people, and then you have to have all the information for that display. Variation and coloration, we have to have, well, the only way I thought about doing it is you could do a sort of column-oriented query. But that would actually be multiple fetches to get all the data you wanted, but you could at least only get the data you wanted. If I specify columns, we're turning it into a super generic query interface. Yeah, so I'm at that awkward point where I'm not entirely sure what to do. I'm still not completely sure what to do. I guess I'd have like a separate monuments thing and then turn them on there. These are useful mainly just as a point of reference. And potentially you could, for instance, filter them based on recency. And that would kind of get this down to a more reasonable size. Well, I guess at some levels just a layer. So that's kind of minor. The time I sort of had account I played with, we just have to ship the information. That's some color playing. Although I could pretty much bookmark yesterday. How much trouble would that actually be? So right now, this is possibly updating the model and the command. To switch statement off of there, so I probably want a function for just that portion. Can we access a non-value parameter? Okay, compiled. Yeah, I believe that. Param nothing. So it will not tell us about a presence-only parameter. Which makes me wonder if I want to do like preset equals or something. If we did that, and we've already got something to sort of do this stuff. Oh, it came through there, but that could be extracted to a function, or I could just, well, you can call update, but calling it the view value seems kind of weird. All right, so we have to have a location set function that's pretty much this. And then another function that does its own view model updates. And then we have to break all that out and, well, no, you have to do it serially so that you can thread the model through so that the incremental updates work. So we have, I'm going to say location, but like, wait a minute, we're calling our URL location. So right now you're that. We would also like well, I guess I need to extract this. Yesterday takes a model, do a model command message. So let I guess we'll call it C2, no, it's really C1. Oh no, it's not yesterday. I guess it's preset. And then we have another let block, or is it? I went to guess, okay. Or just else that. Whereas this one, oops. Because we have to get this stuff out. And then coordinate route, location M2 in M3 command.batch. So I can parse out of the URL. So my problem with putting yesterday in the URL is that, in theory, I would have to look out for If data layer got turned off, if time mode got changed, right before it got changed, if game seconds per frame, if frame rate got changed, it would no longer be that. It would almost be like I'd have to examine the model, see if everything... No, I'd really want to know if data layer was even on. If everything was perfectly aligned for that. Then we would throw that value in there. Well, I might be able to turn this into a link that just changes the route. And you could bookmark that. Oh, but we're actually... Oh, I only had to do ints before. Even 3 arguments. Right, let in doesn't need an end. If then doesn't need an end. Oh, this is leftover. We got that up here for this case. Okay, so that works. It does keep it up there, so if you linked to it. And it doesn't work especially well in this case because I just have old data on my local machine. Now to make this a better preset, I will need a message that sets our base layer. Set view server list, monument list, data layer, begin playback. Control the search overlay, consider the anim overlay. And those are overlay specific. So we would have to go through all of the base layers that are not selected and remove them. Okay, for named base, if else map dot remove layer leaflet.elm needs to be able to send a base layer event base layer and yesterday okay, so we did not keep it here. Oh, do I have the ability to construct URLs in the view? Yeah, there's center URL. So that's probably going to be a no. So either I have to treat that as an independent URL that we take apart and put together with an extra tag on it, or we need to have routing somewhere else. The awkward thing about routing is that, well, I guess there's the URL construction part and there's the acting on that part. So we could decode this into some enum that says what to do with that. But it's not as simple as that because it's like a series of settings that could be configured. Replace URL. So that was supposed to be for a move in situation. We don't necessarily need to set the location if we're just setting that. Oh, we got a step. Nope. I don't have a source console yet, do I? Is this in notes? That wasn't even part of it. Oh, no, yesterday real time. And then where do I put you for real? I could have it linked to a locationless version of it. Oh, but it still needs the ability to construct a URL. Other option is that we keep it as a button that sets the URL. How do we actually construct these, though? We would have to convert that into an array of maybes, which you could filter map. Oh, wait. That will update the URL, removing the yesterday tags. So no, it's not going to requery. So we don't have any tracking of base layer currently. Yeah, this is any time we do change route 2. I change route 2, I think it probably set view. Yeah, has the same detection. Well, if I have a yesterday mode, and we have a function that can detect that. So if data layer is not requested, and can I do this? Should be similar to the function operator. End time mode equals from now, and game seconds per frame equals 24, and frame rate equals 1, and I just have did I just call it anim overlay? Data animated. Oh, this is all model. I guess I could have done the thing where we select out just those fields, but you need all of them once. Yep. Double equals. All right, so now, well, we should probably still have the thing that does this as a separate function. So where can I compare? So before we had a point. that you could compare to a model field. What would we have to do? We would have to have our new model and our old model and decide if the previous value of the model, which we don't have here, well, no, we've got the value of, no, this is the previous model, yes, be the new model. So if is yesterday model, then so that way when we're going through our route stuff, if we start setting that, we won't be constantly like resetting it. And we have a method a detection method. So it's more than the center oh, this is only location. This doesn't include any model stuff. And I kind of have to have it in the mix. If we want to have any other stuff. We could make it an argument up to a point. Model thing. Too many similar names. All right, now to make this a optional URL parameter, all of you have to become maybe. And if yesterday, then else nothing, and URL2 query. So really it starts with the array. Then we need to list filter map on identity, which will remove all the maybes. Process it through identity and then throw out the nothings. All right, so actually any update when we are in this setup Now that by itself does not do it, so we have to tweak that. Okay, so what part of this is not true? This is a little bit hard to get into, unfortunately. Actually, we do need to be in this view and have an update. So we are checking model dot. This is not very pretty printed. Model dot data layer. It's data true. End time mode is from now. Hours before is 24. Game seconds per frame is... That would explain it. Had not reloaded that out yet. And we just want to double check. No, I just need to be able to see if you're making lots of extra requests. This would be for lives. Okay. So that I need the URL generation in a shareable spot. The URL generation is at least... So the advantage of not having the model in there is that you can... And in fact, that would be yesterday true. But I don't have the point to send to it. Because that comes from the map events. Well, no, I've got model.currentPoint. Yesterday... So if we did... I guess I could keep that. And how did links look? Link, is link not a base element? Oh, no, this is still the intro, not the documentation. List attribute, not sure what we need here. Oh, this is assuming I move the URL generation someplace shareable. Model.location. Starts making a little bit of a long command line or parameter. Label is right now the place that can both access this is here. Now this one's starting to look more like it wants to be separate. All right. Like we need some kind of central sharing. Oh, right, there has to be a label. Oh, was point a map UI thing? Point is a leaflet thing. Or depending on a port module. Did I get these backwards? Did I not move? Oh, maybe it's space. Got pulled into there, yeah. URL bool point. Right, because I was thinking like model stuff, model stuff. Oh, model's a maybe point. We might not have that stuff. It could make you work with maybe points. I still have to parenthesize this. Oh, nope, because I can't deconstruct it then. So then it is endpoint. All right, so that works for the view. It does not work for this. Maybe point should be zone. maybe I didn't call it that. Oh, it's a center, not a point. So it thinks there's something about maybe. It's not telling me what thing about maybe. Oh, this must be center URL. No, maybe not. Maybe not map. We want it to be an actual maybe. So it thinks that our view function is not a model. It is a maybe point, right? Oh, center is not a maybe point. Why was it complaining about maybes? I guess we've always got a center. It's just might not be useful. No, center URL. So that means that if we just, well, in this case, I was on something. If we just do that, well, more the point if we do this, yeah, it's going to give us 0, 0, 1. Which is not super useful. If you were at anything, it would link to that correctly. Which makes me wonder if perhaps how was it 1? Maybe I just couldn't quite see it. Makes me wonder. I guess that is sort of where the map will default to. So it might be accurate. All right, and then I want to put those a little bit out of the way. All right, so we're in yesterday mode. Okay. No, I want to, that works. Okay, fill, padding 5, I don't even know if I need that. What did we mess up here? Oh, we took out the first entry of the list. And this isn't going to be a very complex section, but we've got a pretty good paradigm of doing sections here. Okay, you're general. You're pretty general. There's all the server section stuff. Well, it would be a model if we had the definition here. Do you need to be an entire section? Well, I need to have something to keep it together. Oh, and most of these little titles are labels. So we just have to do like and then back to syntax. I always get my equal signs. So yeah, that doesn't look particularly like a heading and values. So links in here probably need some coloration. Did I do that in here? No, I was relying on the default. Well, I've got the radio color. Font dot color. Well, that at least sort of looks like a link. Still need a little bit of formatting here. You would probably want to be, if we extended this like a wrapped row. Well, I guess that is what the indent where you just like. It feels like got a little bit more space here, but it's comparable. And it still doesn't really explain what it is. Doesn't really explain either. Oh, I probably should checkpoint, but just the URL. Minus M. Yesterday as URL parameter. Well, maybe it had the URL before I didn't have the putting it in there. Okay, so that's the major interface. That's done at the bottom. So one thing I've thought about is maybe in this mode, maybe always. So leaflet bottom, leaflet top, leaflet control container. So could we make these fade out when there's been no activity? Animation timing function. Animation slide in. So this would be a particular class. Yeah, we'd have to have like hidden. There is a from and a to. But what if I want to do different, what if I want a fast fade in and a slow fade out? Jump back. Multiple animation property values. Animation name. Animation events. Oh, this is like interesting. Yeah, that was straight up animation. I know opacity is one of them. Transition timing function. Ease linear. Transition property. Any list of values, and the values are repeated to make the match. Opacity, top left, height. What about in and out? Animation, different animation speeds? No. Use different speed for hover out. Expands than the speed it retracts. Oh, the transition on the hover, or on the extra thing, has a... On one of the states, the fast transition. On the other state, so it overrides it when it goes into the special state. So we want to set that up. So that actually means I'm going to have a fade in class, unfortunately. No, wait. Because we want the default state to be fade in fast. And then if we go into fade out, then we do... Okay, that'll work. That'll work. But this is probably going to be pure JavaScript. So we wanted to say, because it's pretty much just stuff within here. Assuming we even get mouse move events. So leaflet control container. I'm pretty sure it's opacity 1. Transition, opacity, probably, maybe? So I could have them... Well, no, this isn't opacity. This is actually... I could probably do visible. Visibility? And I was thinking maybe when things got added and removed, we get a little bit of stuff, but apparently not. Okay. We might have to have an actual change. All right, can we... So I know I set up a thing for those click events. Now, I think this is specifically to... handle leaflet events? So to handle things within the map has to exist. Okay, that's all the event, that handling. Call in the context. Oh, you know what? I should do this differently, because that means I have to find this exact element. On And we could do the map. Oh, but that means we need the DOM of the map. Well, the DOM is an element ID, so we just have to be able to find that thing. But the map probably has it. Oh, it also has a handy reference to control container. Okay. And we could just get element. I just kind of expected it to have a reference to its top element. Oh no, container. So this has to be some sort of like set active, and then after a certain amount of time, we set idle. Yeah, so it's gonna be doing timer games. So I need a set timeout something for 10 minutes. No, not 10 minutes, maybe 1 minute. And we need so the idle timer does yeah, do they also have an AND class method handily enough? DOM utility add class. And then var set active. That means we're going to be I should probably track the idle state so we don't be doing remove class operations every single time. And you have to And this is where I have to remember. Is that clear timeout? Oh. That's Zol. Okay, so that's as good as it gets. Clear timeout. All right, we need some tracking here. Am I even getting these events? Oh. Okay, it's only its move is a map move event. Okay, so that's actually what we wanted. And I should probably turn down the timeout for this. L is not defined. Where's the L now? Oh, I copied it from here. Right, because we would have seen it earlier in set active. That was set idle. That was like very immediate. And then it started fading. Yeah, what's with that last bit? Maybe ease isn't what I want? Oh, I was implicitly using shorthand. Maybe that's making them ambiguous? We can just take this out. Because I thought maybe it was like the underlying update rate. It was like this boom. And then it slowly fades out. So we need to get the control container. No, that's something else. Control container. I guess we're still in select mode. Transition property, transition duration, default timing function, transition delay. It's almost like the browser has to change rendering modes to do opacity, and by the time it does that, the animation has moved on. Yeah, it's probably because we're... Well, actually, yeah, here's... Because I specifically want this to happen during... Animate... No. Maybe I shouldn't be changing classes on the map. Because that is kind of a heavy-duty thing. So there was a thing, which I removed. Control container. Nope. As soon as we add any opacity to it, let's not kick this off. Oh, but I have to do specifically the control container now. Oh my gosh. Am I... This seems like maybe it's because we're over something, a layer that is itself opacity. It's like trying to pre-blend. What the heck? Oh, it's become so invisible I can't see my controls. Oh, something about the browser composition. Is causing it to get layered under the other layer when opacity, which all which means I can't click on it. Do I have to do something with like Z order? Opacity or Z index? It's an element with opacities composited from a single off-screen image. Content outside of it cannot be layered in Z order between pieces of content inside of it. Any element with opacity less than 1. It's not positioned. Stacking order would be used if it were a positioned element with Z index 0 and opacity 1. And with opacity less than 1 is positioned, applies as described. Composited from a single off-screen image. So do you have a Z order? You don't. And they were just saying this doesn't work. No, I think Leaflet was using like thousands. Nope. Does this work if I do it on individual controls? So there's subsections. Oh. Okay, so it's something about the top level layer here. Unfortunately, these things don't have a class per se. So this would have to be leaflet control. Inside a dot idle. Or it's because I have precisely because I have the animation on here that it's trying to do different stuff. And that just happened to be a thing without the transition properties on it. Now you see that actually looks reasonable. Okay, but we got relocated a little bit. So if we get this set up, I should probably auto-close the sidebar when I do this. And I'm wondering if it's like permanently confused about its boundary now. Because I really shouldn't be seeing this. I mean, I understand. Yeah, we're not getting the none. We're getting actual blank, which means leaflet is still confused about its dimensions. I thought I had fixed this. Okay, so that's another thing we have to work on. Actually, auto-closing the sidebar is actually going to be a little bit of a distraction for me. Also, this won't actually happen that much. Now, on move, it's going to be very, very easy to do by accident. You know, if you're just like rearranging the window or something. Fade out, controls when idle. Alright, so what the heck did we have to do? Set view server list, data layer, search overlay. I thought we had to do something. To tell the map, it would have to be in here. That it had to resize itself. Oh, I did that for the other side of the sidebar, but I found that was too jarring. But we still have to do it because of width. So this would be a map property, I think. Events, methods, invalidate size. Oh, I didn't notice the animate parameter before. That might have improved some of the appearances there. Now we are not currently notified of size changes. We could probably rough it by just assuming the overlay button. So toggle. And but I have to do this to the map. Which doesn't exist now. Well, actually, do you have map reference? Yes. This dot map dot. Well, we have to do it in a little bit after the layout actually changes. Invalidate size. Oh, you are not closured by default, though. And just for proof of concept, okay, that seems like more reasonable bounds. The question is, how far off do you have to put it? But really, this should happen anytime it changes size, whether it is from somewhere else or from here. Also, what does this do? Okay, so that might have made the other size sidebar better. It's still a little bit jarring. Actually, oh, does doing this here... Oh, it does jerk the map over. You know what? Probably under normal circumstances, I don't have it open by default. So you open it up here, and it's just overdrawing a little bit back there. So maybe that's why it's not a problem. All right, so that's it's still not a great UI location. I still want to do something with monuments before I get into bookmarking. So in here, I do have a server selection. I could just make it monuments. I just have to figure out how we communicate about what that means. All right, so we've got data. I could work on that. Time is easy. I don't think I've got that in there. Well, time could be used a proof of concept, so we need to have like a cosmetics section. And then I guess just I'm going to have to kind of keep using it and seeing where it hurts. But we could do the base data layer in time. That would give us a better place to put some of the time speed stuff. So in general, it's going to be cosmetics. So that might work. Or display. Okay, and that's pretty much all icons. I keep thinking I might need a time thing, but I don't have an actual use for it yet. Paint format sort of works. Sorta. Because I think that gives you your default. Yeah. Well, it was more important for this one. Your data server. Alright, swap that in. We need the new symbol defs file. Well, no, we don't need the new symbol defs. Yes, because I think I went ahead and renamed the only thing that I was using, that I messed with. Alright, so view. Life search, data filter. Cosmetics. And mode select's going to have to be there, right? Now, this might be too big of a word. Alright, so it probably looks something like that. So, filter, 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 filter. Server select, server display name, server icon. Presets are part of that. And we don't actually have any content yet. And there's probably going to be another switch statement that needs to take care of that. Oh, or not. Oh, so that was the icon. Format. It's a little bit better. Alright, so one of the things I was thinking about putting over there is whether we want this to be, well, default it to time mode or not. But there's a particular slider control. If model.data animated. And how is it that you're Because you were part of date range select. Okay. Like, why is that a different indentation? Oh, and I think I took the closing bracket from that. Or not. Oh, I've still got the conditional on there. Show loading. Is that a different? Oh, okay. I was out of sorts there. Okay, so that's all the new tab stuff. I probably need to have maybe something here that's... Oh, this could be the animated, not animated control. That's a cosmetic. Hmm. So I have a button to turn this on. I just wouldn't have a good button to turn it off. Alright, so I usually get rid of the zip because I've got the files there. Alright, so priority-wise, this has moved kind of at least down that far. Oh, I did rename users. Yeah, title. The title, but not icon ID. All right. So time mode is the thing I'd like to handle. A thing that we could do, which we don't have any rendering support for. What is point overlay? Yeah, so I've sort of got some code in here that deals with some different things. It is not very well regimented yet. So you are fill style. So there's the context.fill style. The brightness based on that and a did I do something? Yeah, I just did global alpha, so I probably don't need that. Wait, I defaulted to global alpha 0.5. Yeah, so you can see overlapping stuff. Now, we had to calculate a T here. But that's T for fade time. This is birth time by time base. Times scale. Oh, it's okay. This doesn't need to be done in every point. Oh, that was just like initializing it. Or testing it. I don't know why I did 75 here, right? Maybe I thought it looked better. All right, so we need a different... Well, I guess it would actually be... Huh. So we have to do both of these things. And so right now we have to have like a var... Or we could probably do... and have it down to 1. So we just need a different variable for this. And that's probably 1. Well, or we just don't do alpha. So this is like... It's kind of a delta, but not really. Time color. So if we do that and go to U. Oop. So these things need to get set up front. What? Reloaded too fast. I did do, oh, maybe I did 75% because the whites were hard to see. Yeah, that could have been it. Oh, I need more water. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Tunnel to the center.
I can't go any faster than this. Because if I do, this happens.
Yep. The trailers are actually sometimes helpful for...
I'm not worried about it.
I've done my research on you.
You guys don't like ice. It's like everything else
I'll do my
here.
best.
get into this iron. Alright, so we'll do a little bit of this and that, and some of that. Oh wow, those guys are quick to get in there.
Oh god. At least we can keep this and this powered overnight now.
We have a power shortage.
Well, you know, I wish we could anyways.
I am Alam Moon. I like it. Need a song for this life. Inspire this little girl. Ooh, okay. Oh, the tour. I love when people do the freaking tour. She might be just like looking around, but you know, show.
Oh! Player one wins. Oh man, that was planned.
All right, welcome back. I'm not sure I like this color scheme. Now, if we did do this in animated mode, yeah, you can definitely, well, I mean, yeah, but it passes through this invisible stage, or it's at the same intensity. So it isn't particularly useful with the time thing, because you've got two things representing the same dimension, but it does give you a sense of what is what. Alright, so if lightness is not a great dimension here, so the total is 360, but if we do that, then your beginning and your end is going to look about the same. So this is lightness. We probably want this to be about 50. Ooh, that gets some pretty faded colors itself. It doesn't look anybody there. So maybe, let's see, saturation is probably fine. This just might be a little bit dark because we have a light background. I guess the other way to look at this would be, could we go, it's going to be too light, but I'm just curious. Yeah, unfortunately because of the Arctic, we also have, I mean, it works at this level. You can kind of see the rainbow effect there. But it's not really useful at the point level. Alright, so those are still a little bit hard to see. There's an overall... Well, I guess maybe the red zone... Oh, actually the problem here is that we're kind of hitting red on two ends. So... What is our... It's not like giving me a complete range here. You know, if anything, I'm probably going to want to leave out like the greens or a green or a yellow. Because the greens were kind of the hard colors to see. Well, the green... Yeah, more the cayenne, actually. So that's going to be a 50% rotation if we want to skip some of that. So how much do we need to cut out? That is a 60-degree arc there. So if we did that and did plus 180? No, not a full 180. Because we want to offset this by like 30. So we're still gonna have cayenne-esque colors at both ends. There's also no intuition around this. You want to cut that off a little bit so it's kind of like a sunset thing. Or maybe reverse it so it's more like a sunrise sunset. Give it something. So that would completely cut out all the green section. So green, 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 kind of green. I mean, you can tell it's different, but it's still ambiguous. So I think 240 is one whole thing, and that's 60 off of 90. No, of 80. So yeah, it's still not a good intuition. So we've got like green to red now. And then none of that yellow. Yeah, the lightness had sort of a logic to it. But where is purple relative to blue? Yeah, there's no, like, data interpretation of that. I mean, it looks fine here. That's just too much change. So for a simple 2-color ramp, we've got blue to red and green to blue. The cayenne colors weren't looking good, so we are kind of skipping that section. I guess blue to red's a little more traditional, which puts us at 240 to 360. Not even that. $120 plus $240 . I mean, it's not great. I can definitely see the advantages of the light to dark. But it doesn't work on the faded background. Or the dark to light. Now, would the more saturated colors, or the lighter colors, work better with these particular colors? Yeah, a little bit. Nothing really gets lost. I do need to work on color scales at some point. Someone has fallen a line there. How does that compare? Well, you need to get changed as well. Back to 100. As much as it wasn't great, this isn't great either. Well, that's certainly fascinating. Oh, we changed the wrong one. What the heck is that? That's red to yellow to green. I mean, I guess a red to yellow would kind of communicate it. Yeah, it's just so dark. All right, so we've got you. We've got Red to yellow was when I did 0 to 100 unrotated. If we did... Well, red to yellow into green. We go as far back as purple? Mm. The orange is a little bit not great. I think the purple's a little bit not great. That might now be too wide in terms of getting over into green. Yeah, the purple doesn't really say old. I guess I could combine some bits. So for old, I don't like cutting down saturation because you already have some contrast issues. This might be more of a lightness. So we probably want to be moving towards 50%. Not all the way down. No, 30 plus 20. TC, oh, right. Well, it has some of the darkness thing going on. Yeah, we're getting some of this greenness, so this is really going to kind of have to cut off at 90. Yeah, the tip is very bright. Just also... Right, because we're layering things and the dark tends to have a bigger influence. So I would need to not do the alpha thing, which kind of allows you to see when there's multiple points, in order to have places where there was new data showing up. Well, you can also change your time window, so that's sort of okay. They're going to completely block out newer points here. All right, so that is a facility. So we have this color and we have this color. And the best way to do that in leaflet land would be options. Wait. Oh, time is a parameter. This dot options, this dot options. Var what are we taking in here? So I don't want to do completely exterior functions. So we're going to need like time base and time scale for one. So given a point, well, those can be built in. Probably going to end up with multiples of these. So we're still going to have a we're going to have it, well, I guess it could be flat. I guess these could be inline. I guess this could also be pre-calculated, kind of like I've pre-calculated some of the other stuff. Just go through and color everything. So then we just say you are color function of point. It's going to default to lineage. And I could perhaps use some of the hue calculation stuff, but that's in a, well, I ended up replacing the fields with, wait, was that lineage color? Yeah. Oh, I did color map, color hash. So arguably, we could actually deal with color time. Except this needs our time base and time scale. Which I don't know if we have. So right now we're doing it in the same loop that we calculate the min and max. We just have to do a different loop. And you would have to have parameters. All right, so now we have our min and our max. Oh, we've actually already kind of got this here. We just have to get the data back. Point dot birth time color really. Now, do we need time base for anything else here? Does not seem so. So it doesn't necessarily need to be a function then. This doesn't handle unknown values though. So you would have to interpret your color option as a property. Fill style. Missing. Ah, because we replaced this. This dot options. Oh, pfft. No, I don't even really need this in this case. That's a small pre-calculation. Point is not defined. Oh, that's right. We passed it directly. All right, default coloration. Now we need format to have an option for that. So this is going to be, it's going to be a set of radio controls, essentially. Well, it'll just be radio. And actually, this one is probably going to get moved down as we progress. Radio, you are not special right now. Although maybe we want to do some fancy color stuff here. We pretty much need an enum for this to even do anything. And options, this is going to be an explicit list, so actually it is more like my other one. So we need to have end time mode, was lineage color or time or birth color. Or maybe I actually need to have this as like some sort of general attribute enum that could be used to show different dimensions, like birth time is birth time. Or time is birth time. I'm not sure what else you would do on time. I mean, death time. But lineage on time? Oh, and this can turn into a live. I think most of the things on this panel can be live updated. Point color message. Oh. On change, selected. Oh, maybe point color. Yeah, so this is going to be one that's always on something. And our view is going to be pretty much over here. Okay, by default. All right, so we have a selection. Select point color, point color. Map UI, update function, view stuff. Is going to be a little bit like server has to do update times. This one will eventually do something interactive, which actually this is kind of moving to that cosmetics panel now. View dot select point color, and this is where the model needs to be expanded. Oh, right. I think it. I don't think it sends a maybe because you can only ever select something. And this has to be shared. So they can both talk about it. Change route to. Oh, we haven't done a knit yet. No. Did we not? Ah, we did not, because I was mistyping the value. Oh, I should have been doing the type. However, we do nothing with that. I'm not even sure. This one, well, for visual consistency, we need to keep it around so we can put it back into the view. Just model dot point color and select point color. And then we have to be able to send that over to leaflet. Maybe I should just have like a cosmetics message, but then the message has to keep changing. So the play time is currently an aspect of the play message. So it's not really its own thing. So I would have to depend on the view. Oh, no, you defined point. Maybe this has to actually define the color modes. That means our port protocol is determining our view stuff, but we need to be able to talk about it. Point and point color. Leaflet. I mean, I guess I could just say it's a string and worry about serializing it in like map UI. It's kinda related. All right, leaflet. This just does have to be a straight up encode string. Of a case statement. Oh, I was going to do this as a property, wasn't I? Is that a current error? So I guess you have to have a function application. A whole data. Running a whole data. A whole map. Set overlay? No. Base. All right, that was one of them. Data layer. Probably base layer. Actually, our time message might be appropriate here. Player.start, player.set transition time. Okay, it's not really a data thing, because something, data layer, set data layers. Okay, so it might end up being a function. Now, set data layers actually ends up doing a lot of work. Min and max. If we just come down to it, okay, you do have to do the redraw. That's just enough to be annoying. Base layer, point color. Message dot color. And how about we send that? Select point color. Unexpected token. Well, I'll just bring you up short. Oh. Okay, that is not doing live effect. Now, I'm probably missing up my terms here. And the class, point overlay. Why don't we assign birth time color? Birth time color, lineage color. Lineage color happens to get used options.color. This is not options.color undefined. Okay, so we're not making it over somewhere. Command. Maybe I messed up my message name? Pointer color. Yep. But that's Elm, which needs to recompile. Okay, yeah, you get a flash from the redraw. But you kind of have to redraw for that. All right, so we've got console.log message and console.log this. All right, we have one dimension. All right. Do we have any other usable dimensions? Generation. How long they lived might be sort of interesting, but chain is probably, and that can roughly follow the time color scheme, but we're once again to have to do our own little min-max thing. All right, lineage color. All right, S birth time chain S min with min chain S max with max chain. So I called this color time, but this is really, this is actually structured as just a linear scale. Okay. You know, I went all the trouble to recalculate to pre-calculate that. Wait, chain color equals color linear. All right, and then you say that you can support chain color. And our view has to be able to support that. That's good. You don't need the Eve cosmetics in that. Well, Eve versus first generation, maybe. Uh-oh. Chain scale. Machine scale. Snake snuck in. Now this is where draw ordering and or color selection might be useful. Because the thing that you would be most interested in would be the high generation individuals, and they just, or high generation towns, and they just don't show up like this. Oh. These were some highest generation people. Gen 43. Probably our peak is up here somewhere. 51. So I might need to work on something that, like, well, right now we're assuming time order, which is good for the animation. And actually animation probably solves this a little bit. And you can sort of see the individual towns aging. You see, I almost want to reverse the color scheme here. That was like kind of old to new, but this, like, it's like an old generation versus a new generation. All right, so that's an easy one. The hard ones are going to involve adding more data. Birth X, birth Y. It would be birth time, but age of death, so that's a little weird. Maybe for now we work on better lineage color, and then possibly set up some data so that it will be in all the cached files by the time we publish the rest of it. All right, so color map. Yeah, so we actually want something to be a little bit more like this, I think. So these are numbers. Now, I had before picked a number that was close to what we can get for, this is still sort of an interesting function. Color lineage and color linear, that won't be confusing at all. All right, so we picked, somewhere I'd found this nice little table of good prime numbers for hashing, good hash table primes. Yeah, so we're looking. Oh, just yeah. So actually, they were basing it 2 to those. If we're going for colors, well, I mean any prime number that's less than whatever number we want to use is probably fine. And the nearest... Oh, that's as far as possible. Well, I was actually looking for something closer to the powers of 2 there. So the first one is probably fine. I think we're only going to do hue here. It's going to cut down the number of lineages, but some of them are just really hard to see. Or I could do separate things for hue, saturation, lightness within some very limited bounds. So we want to say that hue, and we might want to avoid some cayennes here. So 193 would be a very limited range. I might just need a prime list. These are small enough to be easily accessible in most. Well, maybe they don't have a list. Yeah, so this gets us out around... Oh, this is the number of primes. $359. Oop. And you're going to start at 50. All right, so color map. Okay, my prime numbers appear to be very poorly chosen here. We have, like, no blues. So that might have something to do with this particular thing. I was suspecting some weaknesses in it before. I don't know if just picking an arbitrary number will help here. Maybe one that's closer would be useful. I don't know if that'll be enough. Still no blues. Oh, I'm still doing 2 string 16. It's got to be so confused. I'm amazed it made any sense out of that. You just treat it as a hex number? Alright, so in theory, there's probably nothing wrong with this number. Yeah, so that's not as much variation as I'd like. And yeah, some of the greens and cayennes. Does stroke style not accept HSL? Well, that's canvas, so that's kind of what it's looking like. Or I typoed stroke style. Oh, I lost that when I was doing this. Yeah, so none of those points are properly invisible. So it's certain, let's see, so we've got saturation, which we could probably afford to do some stuff at less than full saturation. We've got lightness, and there are exclusion areas, if I worked at it. No, I've got a very, with the whites, I've got a very wide range of things here that are going to be hard to get good contrast on. I feel like the greens don't really work. Well, or this whole thing needs to be darker like the other one. Which helps a bit. So there's that. There's the cayennes. All right, so saturation has a range of 100. We're probably not going to use all of it. As the lower end is just grays. So if we say something like 53% range. So we need a different number for you. And the remainder. And then lightness. Just to pick one. Now lightness, we probably want an even smaller prime. I'm thinking we might have, I don't know, 20 or 30%. Maybe 30 if we went like a little bit towards where we were. Now 29 is pretty much 30. Okay, I guess a little bit more variation. It is very dark. Well, it's sort of intentionally dark. So saturation? Could maybe have more range? So that's 53. 67 plus 33. Lightness is what's giving it the dark impression, but dark is also what makes it have contrast. There's not much more variation than base. What would be approximately twice? Yeah, we're definitely getting some bad colors now. It's like I'd almost have to constrain particular areas. It's like certain colors have contrast problems. Kind of the yellows and greens. And then I don't want to fine-tune that right now, though. So 23, 29. It's still very dark. Yeah, so certain colors could afford to be brighter. It's just that kind of green-yellow. Like, could I take my hue and use that as a scale on the lightness range? I probably wouldn't want to use it directly. Probably about 90 degrees is the bad spot. Well, no, cayenne is kind of bad too, so it's kind of green. Even though some of the greens aren't bad, the colors around green are bad. And I think we determined that changing our color function, there's really nothing you can do here. Lightness just doesn't really help. Except maybe going, like, super dark. Yeah, that's very dark. But, you know, it's just always hard to determine colors with things so dark. So I think I'll certainly miss some of the brighter colors. Maybe I could tune out some of the certain color combinations of lightness and hue that don't look good. And I think that needs more work too. Alright, so sometime down in the details, better generation color, longer on top. So that, So longer generations will tend to be on top of older generations in the same family. So now I'm curious. Well, okay, the animation case, that still sort of holds. Oh, I turned this off always, not just... because it could always be a new family. Yeah, that does not automatically put the newer people on top. That is 0.5. And that makes all these colors brighter as well. Oh man, did I even see this before? Sorta. Yeah, that's one of those green hues. So in theory, we've excluded colors that are particularly bad because they're not allowing certain degrees of lightness. Makes me wonder if I expanded the range too much. I think it really has to depend on which colors we've got. I just don't want to think about what that condition's going to look like right now. Or do I? Because that is going to restrict the range of lightness for things within if hue is less than if hue if 180 less than hue and hue is 0, you know what, we still need a difference from 90. Oh, actually, no, it's greenish because it's the cyan and the yellow. Equals hue. All we care about is the absolute value of that. So the particular problem colors are probably the more green versions of cyan and yellow, but maybe cyan as well. We'll have to see. So if we say we're within 90, are those 90 degrees? No, those are 60 degrees. 60 degrees of green, then the saturation limit, or the lightness limit, so I guess we redo this. Oh, I can do a math.max on this. You're 60 degrees. I want you to be around 30. Still kind of in that same range. All right, so there's our problem color, and it's still a problem color. So that was a 30. So for a general solution, surely that is a greenage color. Oh, maybe I need min for this. Yeah, I need min for this. It's so confusing. You want a maximum, you do a minimum. So I've probably been having impact on all the other colors. All right, so that was our problem spot. We might be able to do that. That still blends a little bit. So now the interesting thing is, could we allow the other ones to be, I guess for a test, we can bring it up on this side. Yeah, some of those kiney colors are a little bit of a problem. But if we did that as we don't go too crazy. All right, so now we should be allowed to have some lighter colors for variation. That yellow's getting a little fishy. Very sparse pink family. So they're a little bit faded. Well, in theory, saturation can go all the way up. I decided lightness was a problem with some of those blues in particular. There's also some of the greenish yellows. Maybe it's more around this area? Well, it's something. Try to create higher contrast lineage colors. The other thing I think I want to do in here is put time toggle on cosmetics. Well, I still have some implementation issues to work out with that because right now they're two separate layers. I guess I could put the two layers into one data layer and have a point data and point overlay and anim overlay. So they're in one overlay from this. But we're actually controlling two as we go in and out of animation mode. So we'd still have visibility, and then we'd have the animation toggle. Maybe? All right, so actually, well, do I want to do a count? That's really going to be only useful in some very specific scenarios. I was mainly curious about if it was the same people in Donkey Town. And it's an easy color method, but are you really going to memorize somebody's color? So really it's the time of death, which then lets you choose a time dimension based on death, location of death, which also opens up some other things, and cause of death, which unfortunately is a bunch of extra data. So actually, I think that is going to sit there, because that's about what we want to publish while it's still, everything's all matching. No. Did I not have this? Yes. So you do have a self fields. So unfortunately, this is like just about everything. The killer ID we probably don't need. You could, in theory, do a graph of all deaths coloring like you do with lineage ID to show up kind of a murder spree, but the colors can still collide, so. Is it just cause? Yeah. And just a field. Now, since we're getting births, we're not guaranteed to have any of these. So we're probably going to have to filter out or ignore points without that stuff, but just making sure that data starts getting published out. So next time, all right, so just wake you up. We have death X, death Y, cause, and then no, because the most recent people are going to be new births. All right, so publish that so the data can get out. Then we can start playing with that. So we could potentially do position by death or birth. We could do color. I mean, death time would only matter in very, very small data sets. Color by cause would be, and it could be an interesting one. But once again, you might have some layering issues. Oh, we do need to do init. I've been doing some stuff for convenience. But it is not normal. All right, so it's just going to be that, and oh, this doesn't do the live update. So, game seconds per frame. So I think we've already got begin playback. But that takes a very specific time. So on data layer update, we either reset, updating that forces a reset of the start time. So really, we want dedicated message for that. So I'm also have a provision to set the frames per second in there, but I only know that in certain circumstances. Or in yesterday mode, that is. Well, I think I default it to 10 and then only overwrite it on yesterday. Oh, and there's no way to put that back. So I might have to have a separate control for that. Or just not send it. I guess we make it what it is. So you are taking one thing. Oh, we don't really want to set that, do we? Playback scale? It's not really speed. It's kind of speed, but... And then on the JavaScript side, well, I guess we actually have to send that, don't we? Seconds per frame. Leaflet dot playback scale. Unfortunately, is the one we do have to stop and start it. Not set current time. Not frame rate. So 60 seconds per frame. But still 10. That is 1 day per frame? Oh, because doing start when it's reset. Okay. And I might have to put frames per second on here, but then this will also have to see if there's an event for it so I can send it back and synchronize them. All right, now that we have that, because this is generally going to be an interactive page. Update time scale from cosmetics. All right, and then I have to work out all the. And then my other project. Did I actually? I don't have one open for you. All right. Oh, and actually, shoot. I forgot I wanted to be done with things pretty fast today. That's what always happens when you get caught up in the code. So, because I do have an appointment later, I'm going to have to see how that affects my lunch plans. Thanks for watching. And thanks to everybody who hosted me. What do we have? Oh, looks like the API isn't accessible right now because it did not get recent stuff. Of course, another thing broke on me, so I'm going to have to check that. Well, we shall see. Anyway, this is about when I tend to stream. Apparently planning to be back doing Factorio later. Probably be, well, on this time scale, 1400. Yeah, the crazy early. It's probably like 1430 at least. It looks like Makings of a Hero is working on some line of sight calculations. So if you're looking for someplace cool to hang out, that is someplace cool to hang out. She's working on an RTS MOBA, so it matters when things can see each other or not. Well, and players can see too. But yeah, it's a place cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye, and until next time.